On today's episode of Wrong Side, we dive into the NFL Conference Championship weekend. The Super Bowl is set. Again, a rematch. Chiefs, Eagles going to be in New Orleans in 2 weeks. We go over the coaching carousel for our teams and the wrong side carousel, Cowboys, Bears, Buckeyes. We dive into what it's been like being a champion, what the week at work was like, winning with some happiness and being on the right side. Clutch moment of the week brought to you by Shore Metals and Outside the Line. In a world full of champions, we find ourselves on the wrong side.
Welcome back, Wrong Siders. Today is January 29th. Happy birthday, Jake Sharber, and we got a great show set up for you guys today. Super Bowl rematch is set between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles. We're recording this just as the Chiefs-Bills game wraps up on Conference Championship Sunday, and we got a lot to talk about. We're going to get to a lot of other stuff. Obviously, been hammering the Buckeyes a lot lately. We're going to get to that traitor Jim Knowles here after the NFL, but first and foremost, I got a lot to say about the NFL and championship weekend. I've been kind of dogging on the NFL this year just as a product from an officiating standpoint. We talk about a lot. So I got a lot to say. Commanders lose to the Eagles. Chiefs beat the Bills yet again to move to 4-0, I believe, on them in the postseason. Josh Allen just can't get it done. So, Michael, start us off. What do you think of Conference Championship Sunday and the Super Bowl match we got coming up here in a couple weeks?
Yeah, I think first things first for the two matchups, the two teams going, winner of the weekend, college football fans. Reason I say that, a lot of people are like, oh, I hate college football. It's same teams every year. Boom. Winners, college football fans. Same teams in the NFL every year.
That's facts.
Next winner, obviously the Chiefs and the Eagles. Huge win. Third winner, Bears fans. Got to see Jaden lose. Didn't have to see him get to a Super Bowl in his first year. And big for Bears fans. Losers of the weekend. We have Josh Allen. Again, maybe I think he's officially entered can't win the big one to get to the big one conversations. Like loser of the weekend, Josh Allen. And
Yep.
Loser of the weekend. Maybe not really Josh Allen because he didn't really have that bad of a game, but like the Bills as a whole, Josh Allen, Joe Brady, Sean McDermott, but Josh Allen specifically because he couldn't get 1 yard. He made it look impossible to do.
Oh my God, it was a painful day.
Another loser of the weekend, New York Giant fans. Must be in hell. Literally must be in hell. Third loser of the weekend, I would say, third loser of the weekend, I would say probably the people that still fade Mahomes gambling. That's probably my third loser of the weekend. So, bunch of winners and losers. Two different games. I felt like, I don't know what it was, but it felt like both games today were somehow closer than they were in the first game. It felt like it was like it did not feel as big of a blowout as it turned into, I felt like.
Yeah,
and
I
then
agree for sure.
In the afternoon game of Chiefs-Bills, I felt like it was close, but also like an ugly game and didn't feel like they had that many points. Like, I don't know if it was just me, but like both games were not fantastic in my opinion. I didn't think either game was like that great. I thought the Eagles manhandled the Commanders, and I don't even think it was Jaden's fault that game. I'll put that out there. I don't think 1% of it's Jaden's fault. I think he didn't play like perfect, but kept him in the game. He still played great. And then from the Chiefs-Bills side, I don't think either QB played that dominant. They both had their fair share of mistakes. Obviously, Mahomes had the fumble. Josh tried to fumble a couple of times, it felt like.
Oh yeah.
And then on the other side of things, like the defense played well. Spags is a wizard. But like here we are again, like Chiefs Eagles, like whatever.
What
like,
was it
I'm
all
rooting
for?
The Chiefs. I'm not rooting for the Eagles. Yeah, like what was it all for? Like I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. Like the final score of the Eagles-Commanders game was 55-23, an absolute shit stomping. It didn't I walked away when it started to get ugly, so it didn't see the real end of the game. But yeah, I agree. Like it seemed close. The game felt closer than it was for the majority of the game. And then Bills-Chiefs, it was close down to the final second, 32-29, pretty hot, evenly matched game. but still ugly. Like there's a lot of flags, a lot of the Chiefs being the Chiefs, and I'd even go as far to say like the Chiefs aren't great to watch. They do a lot of stuff right from obviously a football perspective. Like they never fucking lose. All they do kind of like the Brady way. They dink and dunk down the field. Pat makes some
Yeah.
plays with his legs.
This year,
Obviously,
I would say
this
this
year.
year was
Yeah, they're
very
not as
like
fun to
Brady
watch this
dink
year.
and
Obviously,
dunk.
when they have like Tyreek
Yes.
Hill and all that stuff, Travis Kelce a few years ago when he had a couple extra steps, they were flying up and down the field, and they still have the ability to do
Yes.
that. Obviously, Mahomes' arm talent is still unbelievable, but dink and dunk, flopping for fouls, like the Chiefs are inevitable. Like it sucks. The thing that really made me mad during that game, it was Mahomes' first rushing touchdown. Travis Kelce runs up and like shoves DeMar Hamlin, gets in his face, start acting like an idiot. Granted, he had a major like shitty drop, a drive or two earlier. Like Travis Kelce's pretty much non-existent at this point in most of the games. Gets up in his face, starts a little scuffle, flag on the Bills. Like the Chiefs cannot be held accountable for anything. They're back in it again. And you called it out quick. Losers of the weekend, people who still fade Mahomes gambling, especially in the playoffs. I was smart enough. I don't know if it was after week 1. That was their big win against the Ravens. I was smart enough to take the
Week
Chiefs'
1.
future a long, long, long time ago. I also had a Bills future when they were kicking ass. So that outcome of the game, like financially, I'm not too upset about, but a tough watch in the late game. Josh and the Joe Brady needs to not be back
Brain
on the
for
plane.
rocks or brain. Brain for rocks. Rocks or brain.
Braid for rocks. Braid for rocks. Put it on a t-shirt. But the worst day for the losers of the weekend, the tush push. Like they made it so hard.
Oh yeah,
for
they didn't make my loser
6'5",
list. Sorry.
Yes, 6'5" Josh Allen to get 1 yard. He does his little like backward sidestep over to the left. I don't know what his right guard has done to him that it won't go that way or straight up the center. But that sucked. They had the ball in the red zone. I think it was 3rd and goal. They threw a goal line fade, which is just that play makes me so mad.
Here's the thing with the play like that. If you have CeeDee Lamb, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, someone who, in my opinion, is fadeable, where they can go up and throw that ball, they're going to go. They have a better chance of getting A.J. Brown, similar.
Uh-huh.
I like Keon Coleman. I think he's a hard-working player. I think he was great, like, personality coming out of the draft. He's played well. He battled some injuries this year, had some big moments this year. That is not someone I trust throwing a fade to 3rd and goal with my season on the line, I would say.
Season on the line against, I think it was against McDuffie, who's their top corner.
Yes.
Keon Coleman is not someone who you'd say is fadeable. And I'm a stats nerd. Obviously, we're both huge sports nerds, but I saw a tweet going around where from like an individual like wide receiver perspective, the goal line fade is just like an inefficient play. It's a play that does not work over time, over a large sample size. It more often than not does not work for you. There's one player in NFL history where over 50% of the time it results, I believe it's a goal line fade, so the result being a touchdown. That was Calvin Johnson. He was 6'6". It worked over half the time that they threw that ball to him, and that makes sense. Also, shout out Jeremiah Smith, maybe coming up to change that number here in a couple of years.
Yes,
but
he's got a high percentage.
Very high percentage. But Joe Brady, like Josh Allen, obviously made some plays with his legs. Just overall, the Chiefs always have guys open, always have the right play call. They ran the play with the quick rollout to the right on 3rd and 4th and short, like 3 or 4 times, and the Bills ran it a couple times, and it did work. But that's an easy play to get you your yards, something the Chiefs always make things easy. The Bills just seem to make it hard the entire game. And it was mostly on like offensive play calling. There wasn't necessarily a ton of penalties on them. There were some penalties on the Chiefs, obviously some that didn't get called. It was when Mahomes got sacked. I think it was on 3rd down to force them to hold to a field goal that got them to the 32.
On the last drive?
On the last drive. It was the drive that resulted in the field goal. The one where the right tackle for the Chiefs just was like face masking the guy and like ripped his, like the guy's helmet fell off and nothing happened there. The NFL overall, it was a weird year this year. We end up with a Super Bowl rematch. I don't know. Whose line is it anyway? What do you think the line is on the Super Bowl?
I don't even know. I thought I saw someone text me right after it ended that I think it's like 1.5.
1.5 for the Chiefs. Uh-huh.
Wow.
So evenly
That's
matched
free. They
there.
won. Congratulations, they won.
Congratulations, the Chiefs have three-peated as Super Bowl champions. But the NFL this year, officiating needs to get revamped just from the fact that there's illegal formation penalties every 5 seconds to just the ability to not call it both ways. And I don't think it's from like a bias perspective necessarily. Obviously, the narrative has been around like the Chiefs get all the calls, and they seem to. When teams are doing well, they typically get all the calls. We've seen that year over year. But just big misses all the time, both ways, all the time. Like officiating is bad. Give me the robots. We complain about the refs a lot, but this NFL season was just, besides the fact that the Bears sucked, which obviously like didn't help me in that regard, this whole NFL season was just kind of ugly, like from a lot of different regards. Some injuries, not a lot of great teams. Also, shout out the Eagles, belt to ash, 55 points was crazy. I know I'm going in right now, but thank God if it was Commanders Chiefs, I wouldn't even fucking watch the Super Bowl. Like that would have been so ugly. They finally they had lightning in the bottle this season. Congrats to the Commanders for a good year. Jaden played well. He looks good, but like they've been fraudulent all year, which I think both of us were calling out. And I think I'm glad the Eagles took it personally. Like it's a divisional foe. They're calling them the team of destiny.
Yeah.
Eagles took it personally and belt to ass them. Saquon might be the GOAT. Brian Robinson fucking sucks. They brought Brian Robinson to a Saquon Barkley fight, and no quarterback from the 2024 draft class has yet to win a Super Bowl, so Caleb Williams can still be the first. That's all. That's it. I'm done. Fuck them. Fuck them all. I hate it.
You went belt to ass on the entire league. I think, but in high level review though, I kind of agree with a lot of what you said in different parts of it. I agree the narrative with the Chiefs is bad. And I think there's a couple reasons for that. First reason, I believe this is the main reason. And I think it's the reason people hate the Cowboys still. I think it's the reason people hated Brady. Yeah, like obviously, and these are different. The Chiefs and the Patriots versus the Cowboys are different in this reasoning. Obviously, the Chiefs and Patriots are winning and the Cowboys are not. But the same reason of why people hate them is because they're on prime time all the fucking time. Yeah. And I think that's what creates a lot of this narrative. And I was telling some of my friends this back home. That's why I think people hate that. When it's 10 o'clock and the Chiefs are playing, you very rarely hear them. You very rare people on Twitter, analysts, talk about, oh, they missed this big play. What an awful call. Even when they're like the 125 game, when they're maybe not the biggest game, but they got an afternoon game, you don't really hear it. When they're Sunday night, when they're Monday night, when they're Thursday night, when it's a playoff game, that's when you're going to hear it because everybody's watching that standalone game. I truly believe that. I think obviously there's definitely more saying like, oh, Chiefs this, Chiefs that because they're winning. I'm not saying that doesn't have
for sure
an effect on it, but you're going to get more of it for those teams because they're on prime time 10 times more than the Panthers. Like there's probably been a handful of calls the Panthers have gotten this year that nobody even knows about.
Yeah. 100%.
So
I think
that
there's
part,
a stat. They've either played the most playoff games in the last 7 years, or like just the most like primetime games in general.
I believe that, yeah.
Over like the last 7 years. So yeah, I think the
timing of game is big.
Yeah.
Like the prime time playing. So I think that's one thing where I say like I push back on like the Chiefs get all the calls and like especially coming from us, like think about how many calls Ohio State misses. Like they miss on Ohio State, the holding calls, the pass interference. I was like, you're a good team. You're in the limelight more. You're gonna get the hate more. And you know, obviously, like we're both champions, so like you're gonna get more hate. So
we understand it now. As champions, we totally understand where the Chiefs are coming from.
We get it. Like we get it. We're so good. But anyways, my other point about the Chiefs were that a lot of people they don't get the hate and stuff, but they are just a very, very well coached team.
Oh yeah.
Like the deep like very rarely do you see either team get like, yeah, they get a little hot headed, they'll get hyped and like they get their whole like jab it in. But like very rare do you see them throw a punch or like give like the Travion play in the Cotton Bowl was so rare in my mind to see someone like that of that caliber do that. So it's very rare you see a Chiefs team do that. They're very well coached, very well disciplined, unlike a majority of the league. So that sucks. And the last point I'll make about the NFL is that refs are bad everywhere. Like there's refs are bad and but NFL football and college football, in my opinion, are very similar to professional soccer, where like there's one ball, there's refs on the field that can call something. Even certain calls are subjective, But there's certain things that, like, to me, I don't understand. How are we able to know when a pinky toe is offsides in the Premier League,
Hmm.
but we can't figure out if Josh Allen got that ball across first down or not? Why don't we know that?
Right.
How are we living in 2025 and don't know that? Or the comparison is like, I don't know if you watch a lot of tennis, but like in tennis, they show the replays and they show that like awesome replay. I don't know what their system is called. I don't know if it's VAR as well, but like it's like the bounce, like they like get it down, they can like track it to the bounce and you see like how close it was. Like, how are
Yeah.
we living in 2025 and we don't have like, and they said last year or 2 years ago, like there is a chip in the ball. Like, why aren't we using that chip? How can we not use it? Like why are we living in this year and we can't figure out what a first down is? Like
Yeah.
I'm not an anti-chain gang guy. Like I love seeing the guys run on out and first down, short. Like I get the importance of that. I'm not a big fan of that, but like I get the importance of it, of just like feeling of vibes of football. But how in the fuck do we not know what a first down is? A first down, a
Yeah.
catch. Like how is this possible? Like how do we get to this point where we're almost 10 years? No, longer. I think longer than 10, more than 10 years since the Dez catch, and we still don't know what a catch is. Like today, Worthy, that play, you still don't even know. Like
Bullshit.
and just
That was
so
bullshit.
there's like,
But
so there either has to be like maybe a system like basketball where they get two or three and it can be like anything like at a bat, like, you know, maybe something like that. I mean, even MLB is trying to get better at it, where in the minor leagues they're testing out the strike zone and every player gets one per at bat to challenge, and then they'll
mhm.
go to the board and challenge it. Like real sports fan, like, and that's what I've always said about baseball, about like everyone always hated like baseball. Oh, it's so long, it's not like entertaining and like all this stuff. But like real sports fans will stick through extra things if it's going to take the game longer, but to get it right. If it's going to
Yes.
take an extra 30 minutes in the NFL, another 30 minutes in the NBA, another 35 minutes, 40 minutes in baseball to get calls right, fans will appreciate that more, because real fans don't care how much sports they want or watch.
For
I
sure. Yeah.
personally don't
Yeah.
care. I know how much sports I watch. It's a ton. So I'd rather sit there and watch them get it right, even 75% of the time, right, than
Hmm.
them get it right 35 to 50% of the time, right? Don't you
Yeah,
agree?
I think that's super valid, and also like one of the reasons that I think the like old head baseball fans like didn't necessarily like the pitch clock. Like it sped up the game, yeah, but it took away from like doing the game the right way to a point. Like having like the ability to do all the stuff right. So just the fact that even like yeah, like some things may take longer. There are those bad games at both college and the professional level where every other play goes to the booth, and that sucks too. But there should be an easier way, like the chip
Yeah.
or something like that, where even if it does take longer, like you said, I totally agree with you. Like it's fine if it takes longer, but
For
the
me, it
fact
doesn't
that we
matter.
don't
For
have it,
me, it
yeah.
doesn't matter. Like,
And
I
I think
get
that's
it. Like,
probably the fair for most sports fans. And the fact that we are still sitting here like this, like there's just so much that is missed constantly. Like it's a big, I'd say it's a huge problem for the sport in general. Like a problem that needs to be addressed. It's not just like a couple missed calls here, a couple missed calls there. Like a game never comes down to one play or one call. I truly
no,
believe that. It's
never.
something that you're taught in football very, very early when you start playing. But you think about like the Saints Rams, I think that I don't know if it was an NFC Championship game, but I think it was a
Yeah,
playoff
it
game
was NFC
with a great,
Championship. Yeah.
yeah, crazy pass interference that doesn't get called. Like how that's just not right for like anyone on the field. So NFL, I love it. I mean, we watch it every week. Like I dog on it, but like we still love football. We'll see what
Sheep.
happens next. I'll be right. Sheep. We're such sheep, but I would like to see them make some improvements from an officiating perspective, especially in the NFL. I know last week we like talked about the calendar for college football and the transfer portal and all that
Yeah,
good
yeah.
stuff.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
there are some things, and I think a lot of sports are in this too. Like baseball is trying to make some changes. The NBA is like adding in season tournament stuff like that. All of the commissioners in their own respective ways may need to take a look to see how the game should be moving forward. And I think that could be said across the board, across multiple sports.
Well, I think it's just like all these commissioners, all these owners, like in every sport, they all have their own egos. And,
Hmm.
you know, you always hear like, oh, a team with a lot of egos inside the locker room. Like, how will X coach handle all those egos? then you have to think about it from the bigger scale. How is Roger Goodell going to handle 32 of these egos? How
Yep.
is Adam Silver going to, how's Rob Manfred? Like, and the worst thing is all three of those guys, they all have their own egos too.
For
Like
sure.
they all have their. I don't know the NHL owner, the commissioner's name. Sorry, I'm not a puck guy, but maybe Bizinet. I'm electing Paul Bizinet as the commissioner of ice hockey.
I
But
second.
yeah, but like you have all these guys with egos that like want to like there's so much that goes wrong with like all these things, and like everyone wants like Goodell, like LeBron makes that statement that the Christmas is our day, and like everyone was like the first thing everyone said was like Goodell's gonna put 6 games on Christmas next year, like he's gonna make sure that like the NBA is like flush out, but it's like it's okay to not be in the limelight for one day, like
Yeah.
and I get it that like NBA, like NFL is the best product in the States. I get that. That's our best product we have out there. But you can see how the game is kind of dying. I was arguing with some people this week about like viewership. More people watched Cowboys Giants on Thanksgiving, which was Cooper Rush versus versus Drew Lock. More people watched this Thursday night Thanksgiving game than they watched Chiefs Texans in the first round of the playoffs. That's a problem.
Wow.
I get
That's
it that
weird.
it's Thanksgiving and you're with your family, and there's probably more people with the TV on. I get that part of it, but it wasn't by like five people. It was by like 6 million people.
Yeah.
So like, there's certain things where like why not try to perfect your sport? Like why not invest in like, and here's the thing, like everyone hates on the Chiefs and like obviously they're winners and they're going for a 3-peat and all the yada yada, like you hear all storylines. Here's the bottom line. Everyone hated the Patriots, everyone hated the Chiefs, no one likes a dynasty, first off. Second of all, the refs are bad every single game.
Yep.
Every single game. But you're gonna hate on them more, like I said, prime time, winning team. It's the main thing. But like that's my point. Like do something. Like these commissioners, these leagues should do everything in their power to make sure their product is the best, or people are gonna stop watching. People aren't gonna like. There will be a day where I do think like people are gonna be over it. Like people are already, the NBA ratings have tanked drastically, and like that's one thing where I very much am like not concerned, but like I saw a commercial for like NBA moving to Peacock or like NBC. I'm sorry, NBC. It's like Turner. Like they're moving next year. First commercial I've ever seen, or not ever, but like maybe ever in my lifetime that I can remember.
Yeah.
No Steph, no LeBron, no KD. It was all the young kids, Tatum and Giannis. And that's obviously this has happened before where your elite guys have left, but the league was never at that level of bottom when they left.
Right.
They were always at the top. They got a new group and picked back up. We're here, not here right now in the NBA. So like all these leagues should be doing everything in their power, in my opinion. Get better, spend the money, spend the energy, get yourself to become a better product, because fans are tired of the same missed calls, the same bullshit every year.
Yeah, I think it's interesting the fact that you could say that across multiple sports. And we could go on and on about this. I know Joel Klatt a couple weeks ago did what he would do if he was commissioner of college football. Maybe we'll take a look at some of the other major sports across the country.
That would be a good one.
Now the football's over.
We have a lot of time.
Wrong side's got to figure out what's next, because these episodes, we're really going to have to start yapping and going on and on to fill some airtime here. So we'll dive into some of the other professional sports and see what we would do to change them. But getting back on the rails here, moving over to the coaching carousel, a lot has gone on. I know Ben Johnson is kind of old news at this point, but the Buckeyes were on a national championship run, so I couldn't stop for anything. Before we break to that, I'm getting blown up by our Bills correspondent, Derek Bauer. And quote,
yes, let's hear it.
Fuck the team. All I care about is Josh Allen's legacy. If he wants to go to the NFC and win a Super Bowl, I would support him. I don't know how many more years of McDermott's defense collapsing in the playoffs I can take. So, dire news coming out of Buffalo. What a run that would be, though, to go from a natty to a Super Bowl. I know there's probably some Chiefs fans that are our friends. Shout out Sam Stein. A natty straight to a Super Bowl would be pretty insane.
I think it's like this is the Josh Brown, Mill, Stroff week.
I'm probably not even on the Birds now because of my financial position. So I don't know what I'm gonna do. This is gonna be an interesting game.
But those are real Bird fans. I'm saying like,
They
those
are
are
real Bird fans. Yes,
so like
but
going from
the
a
Chiefs
natty
are
to a
gonna
Super
win.
Bowl.
But the
Yeah,
Chiefs are
the
gonna
Chiefs
win.
are going to win. Yeah, they are. But yeah, coaching carousel. Bears, they got their guy. You're right. We were focused on something else bigger at the moment. Uh, but the Bears got their guy, and he's building a good staff, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw him at the interview. Maybe a little tone deaf, in my opinion. I know Bears fans might love that, but I don't like. It was just typical, in my opinion. Outside fan, in my opinion, typical Bears fashion. Like worrying about the Packers, not worrying about like the
Are you
Super
saying
Bowl.
what he
He's like,
said
we're
about
gonna be.
LaFleur?
He signed, and like I don't. Are they like they are not like that close of friends? Like I heard that on PMT too. Like are they like did they ever coach together?
I don't think so. Fuck, he's already from
Yeah,
the division and kicked the shit out of it. Yeah, it's not like he's coming from like the AFC South and is like, so Ryan Poles in his introductory press conference said, we're going to take the North and never give it back. So typical
fair.
Bears, yes, writing checks you
Take the
can't
North
cash.
is different. Take the North is different.
I want our coach to be a dog. Think about the coach. You got Sirianni in the Super Bowl. Andy Reid, obviously, and Spags,
Yeah,
they're Wizards, so that's
Sirianni, a
different.
real dog. Guy's a fucking
Sirianni,
loser.
dog. Dan Campbell, dog. Dan Quinn, dog. Going out there. So I want our guys to have an edge. I think, yeah, I'm
Sirianni's such a
happy about it.
fucking loser.
Ben Johnson can do no wrong. We'll see how it
That's a
happens.
lie.
Obviously, first time head coaches don't always pan out. And I know that, but this is the first time the Bears have actually done. I mean, we've won the offseason now like 3 years in a row. Last year
Yeah.
was like getting Caleb Williams. The year before was the huge trade. We're offseason champions yet again, building a dynasty as we speak. But they actually they spent the money. He's bringing in a good staff. They're giving him control. They're giving Ryan Poles control to make that hire. The story for a while was Kevin Warren didn't necessarily see it as a done deal.
Trust.
Ryan Poles did. They didn't know. The public didn't really know who was making like football related decisions at Hallis Hall. And clearly that's Ryan Poles right now. So they're doing things the right way. If it all crashes and burns, at least they actually took a real swing at it instead of like, for example, what we saw this year where they should have fired
That's a good
Eberflus
point.
going. Yeah, they should have fired
You,
Eberflus
you've
going
gone.
into
You're
the year,
going for it
obviously.
now. You're going for it. You have a decent roster now. You got a good draft spot. That's a good point. You're going out swinging versus like we're gonna just keep Eberflus one more year. That's
Yeah,
a good point.
yes. So that's
I
what
didn't
I
think
mean
of it
when I
like
say
that.
Ben Johnson can do no wrong. Like this is the first. Like we're all in. Like if we die with this guy at the helm, we die.
We're dead.
And
We're never gonna win.
the coaching staff is looking pretty good. Detroit fans are very upset. We poached their wide receiver coach. We got Antoine Randall L. I'm not very familiar with his game, but wide receivers are cooking. Declan Doyle, he's from Denver. He's 28, 29. He's technically our offensive coordinator.
Young.
Ben Johnson will be the play caller, but having a young guy on the staff, I love that. There's a lot of young coaches in the league right now. Hopefully he's like really got this crazy football mind and he'll just be in the background kind of cooking up new schemes. Ben Johnson is definitely running the offense though. But interesting, you got a really young guy in there as offense coordinator. JT Barrett, Buckeye, quarterback coach. And then Dennis Allen, defensive coordinator, former head coach of the Saints. Very excited about that hire. That's kind of seen as the anti-Flus at the moment. He's very aggressive on third downs. Flus played a lot of cover two, a lot of sit back and wait, and is historically really, 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 really bad at third downs. We were giving up 3rd and 17s like consistently. And it feels like that's been the Bears for a long time of my life. I can just imagine every time Aaron Rodgers would drop back on a long third down, anytime you throw it, you don't even know where receivers are down there. You know they're going to convert it. But Flus was really bad on third downs. Dennis Allen is definitely more aggressive. I have a question for you. We got Al Harris, Cowboys coach, DB coach, passing game coordinator. You're saying he's one of the best coaches that was on Dallas's staff, now in Chicago. What do we got in Al Harris?
Yeah, this breakdown is brought to you by Michael Sharber, but it's for Kyle Lamb. It's going to be a breakdown for Kyle. He shot me a quick text Saturday night talking about Al Harris. I'm a big Al Harris fan. In my opinion, I think he was kind of blackballed in the situation of the last couple of years as the Cowboys head coach. When he was just the cornerback cornerback coach 2 years ago under Dan Quinn. Did a fantastic job. Bland was incredible. That was the year Bland, took that next step. And Bland was good, but obviously Diggs has been good. Bland's been good. Jordan Lewis has gotten even better over his career. He's done a great job with him as well. He's been fantastic. His schemes are well. He gets his guys. He's very tough on his corners. I see the way I don't like Ohio State posts those like the recap videos. I don't know if the Bears have anything like that, but like the Cowboys have Sounds of the Sideline. That's what it's called. And when he talks, when he articulates how they play in coverage and how they should be, it's very, you could tell this guy is like, he did play in the NFL, but you could tell this guy was built to be a coach. He has the mentorship, he has the leadership skills to do it, and you can see it there. Then Dan Quinn leaves to go to Washington. I was clamoring for him to be the defensive coordinator. He ends up being protected by Dallas, becomes just the secondary coach as a whole, and not even the co-DC, was just became Mike Zimmer. So they kept him another year. They obviously fired Mike McCarthy a couple weeks ago. The staff in Dallas has been in shambles the last couple weeks, obviously trying to figure out a head coaching job. But Al Harris, he gets poached by Chicago, and in my opinion, that is not only a great move, because I know they have some great, they have a great secondary, but in my opinion, like, I see that as such a great accomplishment for Al Harris, because Ben Johnson is like this up and coming guy, young guy. He wasn't in our division, and you see how like well respected Al Harris is in the league. That like a first time head coach, going to a big team, going to a must win city, like bringing you in to be the passing game coordinator, like. I think Al Harris is going to be fantastic. He schemes well. He plays well. I think I'm still confused. Like passing game coordinator sounds offensive, but it's got to be defensive in my opinion. Like it has to be.
I think I agree with you. I'm gonna look it up. I really thought it was like the passing game of the offense. Maybe I'm a non-ball knower, but he's the DB coach and the passing game coordinator. So passing game coordinator. I'm looking it up right now. We'll see.
I mean, yeah, this says he's offensive. So like, I don't know. Like, this says Al Harris hired to be defensive passing game coordinator.
All right, that's fine. Okay, as the DB coach, that makes a ton of sense. That's okay.
Makes way more sense. Yeah. So I think he plays well. His cornerbacks are well trained. He's coached a lot of good guys: Diggs, Bland, Stephon Gilmore, Jordan Lewis. He's coached his fair share of guys. He's gonna get Jalen Johnson. He'll get Brisker. You get those kind of guys. Like
get Tyreek Stevenson right. That's my big ask. Get Tyreek Stevenson right.
Yeah, Tyreek Stevenson. Yeah. So he's got a good group of guys. I'm a big Al Harris guy. I think he's gonna do very well there. I hope he does well. A lot of people say it's never good to know some position coaches' names. Yeah. Some people always say that, but I think it was a good thing. I think he was a great coach. I think Dallas is really going to miss him, and I think the secondary is 100% going to miss him.
That's exciting. Good to hear. And obviously, like secondary was a strength of our team last year when there weren't many of them. But one call out, it was kind of a story that at least in Chicago seemed to have went under the radar. Jaquan Brisker, Penn State safety. Yes. He led our team in sacks two years ago, I believe, which is crazy. But he got a concussion. It was I think it was against the Panthers or the Rams. It was a game that I was at. It was like mid-October, and he didn't play again. They were evaluating him for a couple weeks. I don't know what he ended up doing with the long-term IR. Still tweets a lot during Bears games. Definitely makes it sound
always
like he's
tweets any game. Yeah. Like, doesn't matter.
Tweets
Bears.
a lot.
I'm always on Twitter. I'm like, what?
Yeah. So hopefully, like, obviously concussions are not a thing to mess around with. So hopefully, like, his health is good. But he was a great, exciting player. I think this was either his second or third year, and he was making a lot of noise. So hopefully he gets back on the field. There hasn't been anything that he said that has led me to believe that something would change or he's going to retire or anything like that. But obviously you don't know. A guy being out that long in concussion protocol is always scary, and he's a super exciting player. So hopefully Al Harris, he comes in, he gets the boys right, and Jaquan Brisker is part of that. But the Bears look exciting. A long, long time until next season. I'm sure I'll be juiced up once we get there. But for now, some good things are happening, and I'll take that. Small victories.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm rooting that hopefully Ben Johnson goes weapons instead of O-line and takes Ashton Genty so the Cowboys can't. That's what I'm hoping for.
We need to spend we need to get a lot of O-linemen before I want to take a Ashton Genty.
Yeah. But on the other side of the ball, Cowboys, what a mess in Jerry's world. Some were calling it the darkest days in Cowboys history this week.
Wow.
As it was Friday night, as both teams prepared, two teams in the NFC East prepared to play each other in the NFC game. The Cowboys hire Brian Schottenheimer to be their next head football coach. And I mean, what a way to like lose more of your fan base, to get people less interested, in my opinion. I mean, people already were like it was like that meme, like our expectations for you were low, but fuck, like that's what it felt like.
I don't even know who this guy. I had never heard
Unbelievable.
of this guy.
So he's bounced around a lot throughout the league, throughout college football. His dad is a big time head coach. Like his dad's a famous head coach, Marty Schottenheimer.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And he's been on the Chiefs, the Browns, big time head coach. This guy is his son. He's bounced around. I think it's like 7 or 8 teams in like 7 or 8 years. It's a crazy resume. But the thing is, he was the OC of the Cowboys last season, and he didn't call the plays. Mike McCarthy called the plays.
That's always
but
fun.
Dak
Sounds like a
likes
Matt
him, I
Nagy.
guess. So I don't really know how that works. So now he's going to be the OC of the Dallas, or he's going to be the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. We don't have an OC currently. They haven't hired anybody. Maybe Bobby Slowick, maybe him for be the OC from Houston.
That would be. That'd be a good hire.
So we'll see from there. That would be maybe the best case scenario at this point. And the DC, the man himself leading the charge, it looks like it's going to be Matt Eberflus is going to be the defensive coordinator of the Dallas Cowboys. And I guess Wrong Side Podcast will not be able to escape him. We really thought we could.
Yeah.
And now it's going to be the season. So I've heard from a defensive side of the things, like I've heard his linebackers play well in his scheme. I heard that the corners play not bad. So, you know, when he has the defense right, it goes well. But he's still Matt Eberflus. So like,
say something nice about Matt Eberflus. The defense definitely got worse when he left.
Apparently, the defense did get worse when he left, and apparently Darius Leonard had his best few years with the Colts when he was with the Colts.
Yeah, I believe that. He's got not a super complicated defensive scheme. It's very timid. There were a lot of games this year. I was at the Rams game, played Stafford. Obviously, they ended up going on a run, making the playoffs and looking pretty good. That's not how they were when we played them. They may have been like 1-5 when they came to Soldier Field.
Yeah, right. They were terrible.
Yeah, Stafford was throwing the ball up and down the field. If you look at even like our defenses are good, our secondary is good, obviously. But if you look at their roster, they got Puka, they got Cooper Kupp. They may have been hurt at the time, but the Rams offense is pretty darn good. And every single time, it looked like they were going to score. They were running around. Matt Stafford was slicing through the defense, and we'd hold him to a field goal. I think we gave up 4 or 5 field goals that game and ended up winning the game. So it's very much bend, don't break, but it's going to be a very soft, like underneath, not a timid defense necessarily in a bad way, but if you don't have a couple dogs, like our inside linebackers played great last year, definitely not the same this year. So there's definitely some benefit to him being a defensive coordinator. The defense obviously thrived with him than without him. I don't know if I want to say thrived actually, but defense looked good in a couple times. The offense was definitely more of the problem, but he obviously like failed more in the situation of head coaching, game management, timeouts,
leader of men,
hiring, leader of men, stuff like that. So looked good, was decent with the Colts. Defense was all right with the Bears. So it's not the worst thing in the world to have him as a defensive coordinator. There was a time when people in Chicago were saying
this might be the best. Micah might be the best player he's ever had on a defense.
Yeah, I mean, that wouldn't surprise me. There were people in Chicago that were saying like, "Oh, if only Eberflus would like take a demotion to defensive coordinator, like we'd keep him around."
Right.
So he still had that goodwill going for him. But great for the pod. That's where I can't believe he stuck around and got another coordinator position already. Matt Nagy had to look at his bald head a lot. Yeah, so Schottenheimer seems like a Matt Nagy situation. Like he's been there. The Cowboys have had a high-powered offense over the last couple of years, but he's not calling the plays. It was the same way with Matt Nagy. He started out in Kansas City at the beginning of Mahomes' career. I think he was the offensive coordinator, was a quarterback coach, offensive coordinator, not the play caller. Andy Reid, obviously the play caller, and then came to Chicago, looked great for a little bit, and then looked really bad towards the end. So who knows what happens with Schottenheimer. So I don't know. Do you think it's the darkest days in Cowboys history?
I would say there's a lot of people not interested in Cowboys football right now. I saw a lot of people tweeting that they weren't going to renew their ticket sales. I mean, it's Dallas Cowboys. You want to put on like a show. We get it. Like we understand who Jerry is, but
it's bad,
like,
man.
It almost makes you feel like, man, we should have just went out and got Dion. Like at least Dion gets you a little excited. Like at least Dion gets you excited for how he plays. Or You go out and like even interview Ben Johnson. You don't have to hire him. They didn't even give him an interview. Didn't even give Aaron Glenn an interview.
Yeah.
Robert Saleh, who I think is still a good coach. I just think the Jets stink. Like he like gets one interview and then he takes a DC position over over the Dallas Cowboy head coach. Like to me, that's like that says a lot about your franchise.
Yeah.
If someone's willing to take a DC spot, I know it's the Niners, but like so I don't know. And then the last coach for the Cowboys, John Fassel, special teams, going to the Titans. And then I saw an interview that he said that he's going to talk to the Titans, try to trade for Brandon Aubrey. That would be the darkest day of Cowboys history.
That would
So
be
don't do
bad.
that. But yeah, Cowboys a mess. Whatever. Champion.
Jerry's got to let it go. I mean, he's really just doing this for the bit and for the plot. Like, it doesn't seem like these are actually football decisions anymore, and really just like staying in the limelight decisions. And obviously he's getting up there in age and his kids are in there, and it doesn't sound like you like his kids any better than you like him.
Yeah.
So it's not looking great. I was very steadfast in my stance at the beginning of the season that the Bears would end up being in a better spot than the Cowboys. Obviously, I was probably only mistaken by a game or two, or maybe 3.
Little. I would still say they're in a better spot. Like I would still say like you still have a rookie QB on a deal. Like you have a top 10 pick. You get a new fun head coach. Like
yeah,
we both didn't make the playoffs, so it's not like the Cowboys like made the playoffs and like fizzled out again. Like so, I bet you it's still close.
It is close. So
last coaching carousel update on the college side of things. Judas himself, Jim Knowles. To be honest with you, I have a lot of thoughts, but to break it down quickly, I think one, thank God he left after the Natty. Thank you for bringing me a ring.
Yep.
Number two, I understand going back to where you're from for more money. I don't even like it sucks because it's Penn State because it's a rival. So like that part sucks of it. But that being said, so I get it. It's business, whatever. Take your job, whatever. That would be one thing. The thing I hate is that he didn't show up to the parade today or celebration. He didn't tell any of his players. All of the guys left the field and went out and found out on Twitter.
Yep.
Apparently, he iced out all of Ohio State after the Natty, and he reached out to Penn State to interview there and to get that job. So I hate that. I hate that part of it. It's a little different than like Chip Kelly. Obviously, Chip Kelly is like going to go through some interviews to be an OC in the NFL. But Chip, in my opinion, I was always considering him being a rental. I wasn't expecting Chip to stick around forever. I'd love for him too. He was on the recruiting trail today in California and on Florida. So awesome. Happy for him. I'm glad he's doing that. That's a good coach. And a lot of our coaches weren't at the parade today because they were recruiting. But I don't like that's the thing. I'm not upset with Knowles leaving. It's whatever. That's life. That's sports. I'm more so upset that he left for a lateral position, maybe even a downgrade position, and he left without like even doing anything. And I've heard like a lot of Scott, like him and LJ didn't like each other, or Day kind of reamed into him a couple times. Just seems soft. So I don't know. We'll see when stuff comes out fully. But November 1st, coming to Columbus, so that'll be a good game.
November 1st. I agree with most everything you said. It's a business. Thank you for a national championship ring. We do not win a natty without him and hit the work he's done over the last few years. But the longer it's went on, the more of a bad taste in my mouth that I have. Ohio State allegedly had the same contract on the table. And I don't know if he's from like State College or just
Philly.
From Pennsylvania. Philly, sure, fine. I understand those roots, but definitely a step down. Like one step down, but a step down for sure. You go to a rival that hasn't beat Ohio State, where he was just at, in like 8, 9, 10 years. That's absurd. Obviously, he's got a few tricks up his sleeve from his time in Columbus, but going there to be a direct competitor against a team that has done a lot for you over the last couple of years, and obviously like you just won a natty there, is definitely weird. For the same amount of money, you could have ran back with all that you've recruited all the guys over the last 3 years.
The better players,
the team, the better players. That doesn't make a lot of sense, and I really am trying to hold out hope that the way he handled it is not what has come out in those reports today.
Agreed. I hope so too.
That shit pisses me off. If it is really about Larry Johnson versus Knowles, honestly, I would go as far to say I would rather have kept Knowles over Larry Johnson. Larry Johnson's a little bit
It's
been on the
tough.
hot
It's
seat.
so tough. It's
It's
so
very
tough.
tough. He's brought a lot to Ohio State. Like he
Two
was definitely around for
natties.
the
He's
other national
two
championships, some
natties.
insane
He's
recruits, but
DNs. Yeah.
some insane recruits for sure, but I think like our friends today were all like, "Who cares? Like, fuck him!" Like, it was all about the players, and he definitely did luck out on a great group of veteran guys that were able to be in that system for 3 years and perfect it. But like, he still makes the system. I think that will be a bit of a growing pain. Obviously, we have a lot of question marks. There's a lot graduating a ton of guys. Julian saying at quarterback, alleged, don't know who the quarterback's going to be. A lot of question marks, and for the whole defensive scheme and everything to be one of them, not something I thought we were going to have to think about. So I'm disappointed. If he really iced out everyone, I'm allegedly there was a report that he told players like a day or two ago that he was staying. So if it went
Right.
from
That's
that
why I
to
figured Sonny and like Iggy and all those guys are coming
yep
back. Like,
to then, and obviously like things are always changing, so maybe he said that and things change. He's getting highest paid coordinator in the history of college football, so obviously you go get your
right.
bag. At the end of the day, it's a business, and I can respect that. But to not tell anyone, to not be in communication, I saw I guess his
To
sister
do it. Yeah.
to
Yeah.
do it
Paula.
today.
Yeah.
To do it today is also crazy. And I know, like, I don't know if Penn State released it, some other reporter got the news and like how that works out. But for that news to come out today during the championship parade that he was not in attendance, bad luck. To not tell the players, bad luck. So I'm disappointed. I'm going to hold out hope that this didn't go down the way it was. But if it really was the fact that Larry Johnson wanted things one way and Ryan Day ripped into him after the Oregon game and he really just didn't want the pressure at Ohio State anymore, fine. I guess enjoy yourself, have a good time. See you November 1st. But he was better than that. He stuck around when they gave up 45 points to Michigan. Like, why didn't you leave then? Versus, I mean, you obviously you finish the job, you win a national championship, then you leave. So it just doesn't make sense to go to Penn State. If you went to Oklahoma, it just would have been like shit. Like, that's okay, shit happens. But to go to Penn State
Yeah.
makes no sense to me. It's leaving a really bad taste in my mouth.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, that's the thing. Like, I was just going to say, the thing with Knowles is Knowles has been great in the 3 years,
Yep.
but it took about 3 years to get that system in place. And not only that system in place, but for that to really start clicking,
Mm-hmm.
we needed number two to get to Columbus. So
That's for sure. But
I
also
don't
the
think
fact
Penn
that
State has any safety that's good enough, even can hold his jock strap as Caleb. So it's going to take time for his system to develop. I believe it. Like, he was getting blown out by Michigan. This is like the first year, like, it wasn't that bad. And obviously they were on
yeah,
a down year, Michigan. But like, it's going to take time to click in. And I know they have, but like, they don't get their best defensive player coming back. Like, Abdul Carter is not coming back to College Station.
right.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
we'll see. November 1st, we'll see. But Ohio State banner up, the flag up today. Jake Sharper was in attendance. This movie star himself, I guess. He's on Big Ten
Yeah.
Network. He's on Cotton Bowl TV. Yeah, I mean, let's focus on Texas. We're focused on Texas.
Focus on Texas. Last thing I'll say. Fuck. What was I gonna say? Oh, it took about 3.5 years for this 3 years for this defensive system to kick in, and it was after the Oregon game that it did that. What were the changes that were made after the Oregon game? They started rotating the defensive line more. They started showing
Right.
more exotic fronts and pressures. And allegedly, at the time, right around the Oregon game, the story was that Larry Johnson was the one kind of holding that up, and Knowles has been wanting to do that for years. It was something he did at Oklahoma State, running more of kind of like a jackal, like hybrid type safety in the box, and that ended up being Caleb Downs. They changed after the Oregon game. They got Caleb Downs closer to the play, and that was great. But the story at the time was Knowles has been trying to do that. Him and Larry Johnson were butting heads. Larry Johnson stuck. He didn't want to rotate his guys. He wanted to keep his starters out there for as long as possible and keep that front going. So now that story changes again. So there's definitely a lot of question marks. I'm Ryan Day, the greatest coach in college football. He will bring in someone good. So I'm not worried about that. It still sucks that that's the way it went down, but business is business. See you November 1st.
Who would be your best pick?
Shit, man. I don't know. I don't know Nick Saban, obviously. I mean,
It's
I
got
don't
to
know.
be.
I don't know defensive guys at the college level right now. I couldn't even tell. I couldn't even give you 3 contending names.
I think Steve Spagnuolo should be on the list. He's probably bored of winning in the NFL. It's probably so easy for him. Give him a new
Spags,
challenge.
Saban. I mean, Vrabel's already like
Halfley,
hired somewhere else.
Halfley.
Has been talked about a lot. I think there's an internal safeties
This kid
coach that
Matt
Ryan Day
G,
was.
the safeties
Yeah,
coach.
yeah. So
We'll see.
besides that, like I don't know, Saban, Spags, any of those would work. But yeah, I don't know who else is around.
We'll see. New coaches everywhere. We got a Super Bowl 2 weeks from now. We'll dive into that a little next week. But now we're going to do a quick ad read and then outside the line.
Our clutch moment of the week is brought to you by Shore Metals, serving Southern California since 1970. Big enough to serve you and small enough to know you. See Stan, he's the man. He'll help you out. Michael, who is your clutch moment of the week?
Clutch moment of the week. I just thought of it right now. The Instagram Reels community. I was upset that you guys didn't say it last week, but our hype video for the Natty, 20,000 views. Felt cool.
Wow.
I'll say it.
Felt cool.
Felt
Yeah.
cute. Felt cool. Let me see what the current count of it is, but I know it's very high. Felt cool. We've gotten about like 30 new followers, which was sick. We got 24.3 thousand views, 2.6 thousand likes. Pretty cool. Clutch moment of the
That's
week.
big.
Instagram Reels community, Jake and Ari as well. Clutch moment. Ari helped Jake make the video. So Jake and Ari, clutch moment 2. Huge one for us.
Love it. Love it. Wrong side is flying. Great time to be champions, to be on the right side of wrong side, and keep showing love. Keep showing love on social media, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok's getting up and running, but love all our supporters wherever they may be.
Yep.
Good clutch moment. My clutch moment goes out to LeBron James Jr., Bronny, down there at the G League.
Hey, he's dominating.
Dominating. So stat line, saw a lot of graphics coming out this week over how Bronny's doing in the G League. Averaging 23 points per game. Big stuff. Where is it? 23 points per game. 5 assists, 6 rebounds, and 2 steals. Great. Having a great
per game?
year. Per game. And shooting 88.9 from the free throw line, 43.4% field goal percentage, 3-point percentage 45.8, which is damn good by NBA
That's
standards.
Pretty good.
Damn good by NBA standards. Michael, this is I'm on the G League Advanced Stats website. Michael,
Okay.
they've played 3 games in the regular season.
Oh shit.
So I saw those stats. I'm like, damn, like he's really cooking. I know there's some sort of tip-off tournament. I'm not very familiar with how the G League season is set up. There was a tip-off tournament.
He's played at all.
Yeah, he's been up and down, but games played 3 minutes, 33 minutes per game. So he plays a lot when he plays, but these are the regular season per game stats. And that graphic was going around. I'm like, okay, Bronny, like stepping up a little bit. Clutch moment. He's played 3 games. So still doing well. Obviously, Nepo baby coming out of the draft.
Clutch moment. False information.
Don't trust the media. Don't trust the media. That's the lesson to our listeners on my.
That's unbelievable. That is unbelievable, dude. Actually unbelievable. I did not know that. Wow, that's a good clutch moment. That's a good clutch moment. Okay, I love that. So Bronny and the fake news outlet and Instagram Reels community. Clutch moment of the week. Now to outside the line. Now wrapping up with Outside the Line, starting off with Tone Deaf Person of the Week. Joey, what do you got?
I'm kicking it back to the NFL right now. So obviously we know as sports fans that players, they get random drug tests in their locker. They get fined for plays that happened 2-3 weeks ago. And recently, the biggest story, the Joe Mixon fine. So Joe Mixon, running back for the Houston Texans. The NFL got ball sacked is basically the headline here. So I don't know where they saw this quote, but there was a quote that Joe Mixon was ripping into the officials. Something is very much a big no-no to specifically call out the refs did a shit job and sold the game for us.
We're playing against the refs.
Yeah, the refs. $25,000 fine for Joe Mixon off the rip. He goes out on Twitter, says it in a couple post-game interviews over the next couple weeks. He never said that shit. You go back in any of his interviews, anything they said, it has been confirmed at this point that he never said the quote that he got fined for. Nothing at all about criticizing the officials in a way that would warrant a $25,000 fine. Called it. So he's been calling out the NFL. JJ Watts tweeted about it. A bunch of other players have done it. Like, what are we doing here, guys? Like, NFL, what are we doing?
Did you see who said the quote?
No, who said it?
Someone actually said the quote, but Joe Mixon got flagged, got the fine.
Who said it?
It was TJ Hushmanzada said it. He said it on Twitter, and Joe Mixon got called for it. Don't know how that happens. Don't know how that happens.
That's absurd. But Joe Mixon takes the fine for that guy. Doesn't take the fine, but he gets slapped with the fine instead of that guy. Calls out the NFL for it. I never said that. NFL sees that, fines him again for calling out the NFL for that, and doesn't take away the initial fine, as far as I know. Obviously, if like this other guy actually said it, maybe the fine goes to him. But as at the time of recording,
that guy retired. No, he's an old player.
Yeah, what the hell is this? So they didn't take away the fine for Joe Mixon, as far as I'm aware, and they fined him again for calling out the NFL. So tone deaf goes out to the NFL, fine boy Roger Goodell, and just the stupidity of running these professional sports organizations.
Where do the fines go? I actually don't know the answer. Like to any league.
I have no idea. I don't know.
Is it like a free parking kind of thing, like a Monopoly, or?
I'm assuming so. Like it doesn't go to the refs. I assume. Like I don't know where it would go.
Yeah.
Other than like I don't know. Maybe they throw a pizza party in the office at the end of the year at the league office.
Oh, that's cool. That's probably a cool pizza party. Good point.
Cool.
Good point.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's like I believe it's like free parking in my mind. Tone deaf for me. I have two. Both kind of smaller. That's why I did two. One, LeBron James advertising at the national championship for DraftKings, being like a full sponsor. We're like telling you can't bet. Players betting is bad. But you're like it's like okay off team grounds, or like okay if you're like, I don't know. I just think the whole like gambling thing, this is maybe like a boomer take, but like I'm pro sports gambling, but I don't like them being so like on top of it for players, but then also having them in ads. Like I just don't understand. Like makes no sense to me, like how you're allowing LeBron to be in these ads doing all this, but like also like Jonte Porter's like Hitler, like, you know, like it's like there has to be some weird like in between ground. So that's mine. Other one, NCAA. We said it a couple weeks ago. The scheduling is terrible. It continues to be bad. They announced that the 2027 national championship is going to be in Vegas. Awesome. Sounds fun. Sounds cool. Yep. January 25th. Crazy. Unbelievable. That's yesterday. That's the same weekend as I mean, obviously, like not, but like unbelievable that it's that late. Like viewership's down. Like everyone was like, oh, why was viewership down versus last year? I'll tell you why. Last year was by itself, no playoffs around it. It was a Monday. It was a Monday this year. Guess what? It didn't matter. You weren't halfway into January. The inauguration was this year. Like there are so many other reasons why this year's viewership, which is actually still embarrassing to me, in my opinion. Ohio State versus Notre Dame, I would think the viewership would be crazy, but it still wasn't that great. But awful. NCAA, figure it out. Find a way to change this. I just think it's so bad. Now we know for at least the next 3 years it's not going to be changed. Like that's what they're telling us with that scheduling. So awful.
That sucks. I know we were talking about there are some like quick fixes to the schedule that you could make and really make things a whole lot better. And obviously like these big organizations and committees and all that BS, we love bureaucracy, take long for that shit to happen. 3 years from now, we're going to be heading towards a 16-team playoff. So the playoff might be just as long as the regular season at that point, it sounds like. So that's going to suck.
Right. Right. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's me.
Before we go to right side, wrong side, I did do some quick checking on where the fines go for the NFL, and I was really hoping. Pizza party.
Okay.
No, it goes to charity. It goes to a couple different charities. Some for former players, other charities. So I get tone deaf. Still that fine, and still some of the fines in general. But
I knew it. I knew you were going to say charities too. I knew it was going to be something good. Damn it.
Yeah. See, now they're just going to keep finding people because they're like, it's for charity. It's bad.
Whatever. Let's wrap it up. Wrong side, right side. What do we got?
Wrong side, right side. Right side for me, trying to figure out ways to better myself, to get in the gym mentally, physically, emotionally. It's cold. It's cold out here. What'd you
Love
say?
it. Go. I
Love
said
it.
love it.
Okay. January in Chicago sucks. January, February, football's over. There's nothing going on. It's cold as hell. I can barely get myself to walk the 15 minutes to the gym when it's this damn cold. So I started reading a book. I started reading Coach K's book, Leading with the Heart,
Oh,
a
the
book about
bear, like the
coaching.
bear.
Yes. It's about coaching and leadership, and coaching something that I definitely plan on getting into later in my life, whether it's Little League, whether it's at the high school level, or maybe even higher in some crazy way. But it's an exciting book. It's not a long book. It's an easy read, not very difficult words. But feeling good about picking up a book. So that was my right side. My wrong side, a quick one, sticking in football. Caleb Downs. He's great, possibly the best defensive player in the country. Wrong side for him. He's a super highly rated recruit coming out of high school, goes to play for the best college football coach of all time in Nick Saban. Nick Saban retires. Caleb Downs has to adjust. He
Oh,
transfers to Ohio State, obviously wins a national championship. That's not wrong side at all. But now he's heading into his junior year. In 3 years, Caleb Downs, one of the best defensive players in the country, will have 3 different defensive coordinators. I know that stat is mostly looked at as like offensive coordinators and quarterbacks, but there's still a lot to learn. Defense in football is not just see ball, get ball. Like that's not how it works. It's a lot of
should
complexities
be.
and assignments. Should be in theory that's what it is. But Caleb Downs, he is wrong side right now, but kind of for a good way. He's able to thug it out and keep going. He's a national champion and will be going on his 3rd defensive coordinator in 3 years.
Good take. That's a good point. You're right. You always hear the Baker Mayfield stat. You always hear this quarterback's had this many coaches. You never hear that from the defensive side, especially in college. That's a good point. That's a good way of looking at it from like a star. Like he's gonna be a top 5 pick in my opinion next year.
Through no fault of his
So
own,
like
he's played
yeah,
his
yeah.
balls
So
off. Like yeah,
yeah, he's a
it just
2-time All
sucks.
American. Like incredible. Yeah, that's a really good point. Really good point. I didn't really like. You never think about it from the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah,
But he came for Ryan Day, not Jim Knowles. Um,
valid.
For me, right side, right side, wrong side. I just thought I only had one right side, but I thought about it when we were talking about just like funny things. My right side is a real one. Is Severance is back and it's incredible. Through 2 episodes, fantastic. Haven't watched the show, highly recommend. If you don't have Apple TV, highly recommend. Maybe if you want to wait it out like till like the season's over, you can get like the 7-day free pass and just rip 2 seasons in a row. Just a strategy. So that's my right side. Other right side that I just thought of was the Will Howard Dr. Pepper ad. Phenomenal, great. Comments were
Oh,
awesome. The video
Chalk
is awesome.
Chalk DM'd me about this. Nathan Chakowski,
Um,
he said this must be discussed on the pod. He is out on
Oh
it.
wow!
I like it.
Oh
I am
what?
a fan.
What?
Chalk
How
said
can you be
not
out?
in my. He said not my quarterback. He said not from my quarterback. I said you don't love a sassy queen. It was hilarious. I mean it was so.
Well,
I would be doing
you
this.
love it.
I would be doing that
You
too.
love a sassy queen. The Bears love a
I
sassy queen. So.
the Bears love a sassy queen, so that was right up my alley. I thought it was hilarious. But Chalk,
I thought it was awesome.
I think it's
the
right
comments
side.
made it. The comments made it. Yeah, it's total right there. The comments made it great. Like Ryan
Yep.
Day. Like thank God this was after the Natty. Seth, you sassy queen. Like Tyreek, hell no, never do this again. Like great right side. Great right side. Love to see the fellas messing around, joking around like that. Best group of seniors I've ever watched. So they can do whatever the hell they want.
Oh yeah.
Wrong side. On the same topic of Caleb Downs and Will Howard, haven't bought one piece of gear yet. No gear.
Same.
I'm trying to find some time. Every night I've been working late. I've been tired. Or earlier in the week I was editing after work, so I was tired. I was at the office. I just haven't had the time to like actually sit. Maybe tonight I can do it tonight, like late. But just bad. Yeah, bad. I haven't bought anything, and I have like such a long wish list of stuff to get. But like I just haven't got. I take it back. I have bought one thing, but it's not gear. I bought the paper,
Yeah.
like the
That I should
which is
buy
stick.
that. That's good.
That's cool. That's cool. It was cheap too. It was like $10 with shipping. It was like $15. So
not bad. Yeah,
cool.
I'll
And
definitely
you
buy
can
that.
like frame it. It's a cool thing to frame. Like Meg and I were already talking about it for our place next year. Like I sent you those pictures in the group chat of like from Ohio State's website. You know that like link I sent in the
Yep.
group chat. So it was like I took off some cool pictures. Like I'm gonna put those like in the frame next to it for the season. Pretty cool. Awesome. But yeah, no gear. Really want to get some gear. So if you have seen any cool gear, and if the MediaTek sweat jumpsuits come back on sale and you see those, let me know.
Yes.
But yeah, no gear for me. But yeah, that's my right and right side.
Good stuff, man. Well, that's our show. Keep showing love, everybody. Like we said, the reels are flying. Things are going well. We got some interviews lined up for you. Another Olympian possibly coming on the show in the near
Yeah.
future. And looking to kind of get back to our roots. Get any of our listeners, reach out. If you got a story to tell, we'd love to tell it. So reach out to us, DM our accounts. We'd love to get more interviews, start talking to some of our friends from back at school. We may not know what you guys have been up to lately. So reach out, stay in touch. Everybody just keep doing you. It's January, February. Nothing's going on right now. People are trying to do New Year's resolutions. So stay on the right side as best you can. Life's tough, but we're doing good. Hopefully we are a good escape for you guys every week. We love doing this, and we appreciate all of our listeners.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for listening. Happy Wrong Side Wednesday. Another week. Champions. I'll stop mentioning it maybe next week, but this is still the technical week of it happening. And we weren't together last week. We had Jake on. Yes. I did my own part. Sorry. Apologies. I know it was a long episode, but well worth it. I felt every moment on the episode was cool. But thank you guys for listening. Happy Wrong Side Wednesday. Keep being you guys.
I will not stop talking about it. As Dave Portnoy said, it is my crown until someone else is crowned national champion.
Yep, so
you'll be hearing about that for a long time. But appreciate y'all. Stay blessed.